Hello, music multiverse listeners. Yep. Time again. New albums. It's album review Saturdays 2026. This is episode 14. With me, my cohort in music listening crime, Deb, damn, Deb Armitage Hicks Maloney.
Oh, there.
Obviously, we go through this every weekend. Sometimes we go through a lot of albums. Sometimes, something happens. So today, you're only getting two extras. And it has
Yeah.
nothing to do with Easter. It has to do with people not releasing their music when they say they're going to.
Yeah.
Come on. Come on. Get with the program. If you're going to put it out there, put it out there. If you're not, then don't put it out there. Don't tell me it's going to be out there and it's not out there. What?
Hard to do your homework without the book.
Yes, yeah. Yeah. Cliff notes? Yeah, I'll fake it. No, I do that. Obviously, no bullshit here, right? We listen as many times as possible before this particular show airs. No AI, uninterrupted influences of just our ears. And that's why you got damn, right? Because, you can go to the written word there on beyondyourradio.com by me. These three albums are there, the links and my pontifications, but it's better to have another opinion, as we found out last week, you know? Um, so, if this is your first time joining us, welcome to the show. We appreciate you. Lots to talk about in the spectrum of this particular, even though it's only five. If you like what we're doing here and what you're hearing from us, obviously click the subscribe button. If you like it, like it. If you don't, well, don't it's dislike it. Just what? For those that are already hooked, let me just say we're going. Here we go, right?
Yeah.
Um, what about this weekend? So album review for number 14 here. Intersecting projects, interesting projects too, completely different from each other in sound, genre, musical combinations they chose, but they can use subtle, but they can also be bombastic where they want to be. This also features two instances with elongation, which can be a dangerous operation or a very successful one. Think of like Inagata Devita. All right. Yeah, that's a little long, but as Iron Butterfly found out, very successful. But doesn't always work that way. At first, we take on a dark operatic opus that has both beauty and heathen properties. We'll get to heathen later, which could put to chance the accessibility of such a devout and interesting record. Then we head over to a member of the Red Hot Chili Peppers who has musically been dying to do this. And he's finally done it in an interesting, risky jazz record. Then we tremble in the distortion and catchy jangle of a different kind of king, Sonic King. This is a very intriguing album review 2026, episode 14. And I certainly hope you give these albums all a chance, except one of them. Lily Refrain, Nagalite. So let's start the idea that Nagalite is not a word. It is a combination of two things, but we'll get to that. Most people are not going to know Lily Refrain. I'm fortunate to have some people that point me in the right direction. So I'm hoping to return that favor for you today. Even, you might even have heard of High Lung. No, you haven't.
No,
Well, I
no.
hadn't either. Okay. So I'm on Twitter and people I follow and enjoy have this, they put this band name up in a picture. And I think I put something like, I should be scared, shouldn't I? And the person replied very truthfully and honestly, yes, you should be. Yeah, there might have even been a sacrifice on stage. I don't know. But anyway, it threw me for an interesting, seethingly dark folk prog loop. And this is where this Denmark experimental folk artist place in the music multiverse kind of is. Um, Not only that, Lily Refrain is a complete multi instrumentalist. There's nothing she can't play, but tunes it and twists it into her pattern and likeness so much that it was noticed by Hyla, and they put her on the bill in Europe, which then got her noticed by the Cult, who put her on as the opener in Europe. So there's two different lenses. The Cult do not do human sacrifices on stage. Not human. I'm kidding. I don't know what it is, but these people wear horns in the progress.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
get. Hey, look it up. Try it. I
Yeah.
have both albums now. What? Yeah, I do. I do. What an addict. All right. So not only that, but as a champion last week, just prior in our Unsound Minds, Ear Split PR sends me this. So Nagalite and vocally passionate mistress of all she surveys. And she surveys an enormity at the helm of this rhythmic, electronica driven, dark, minimal to biblical proportions, maybe. Yeah, because she's not sometimes singing in a language, which
Yeah.
is, sacrifice. No, not sacrifice. I'm just, this is an all in music lover's deliciously dark delight. However, you have to have a sense of electronic elongation and a trip across sort of a terrain. So you understand that it's daunting and not utterly just drone. So I liken this kind of like when you watch Star Wars The Mandalorian. There are times where they're traversing the desert of one of these fictional planets. And
Mm-hmm.
you're kind of wondering, why aren't we just skipping this shit and moving right to the meat of the bones? Well, the idea is the journey. Lord of the Rings, maybe. All right. So just
Yeah.
keep that in mind. Because for some, this might be difficult. So, but if you follow the rhythm of her heat, I think you'll feel that passion and the timing and all its completeness. I believe you will come to a very appreciative and very creative understanding of this pursuit. The looping, done in real time, and the execution of her musicality is like the unraveling of an endless dream or, well, a pulsating nightmare, depending on your position of light and dark. This is heavy, methodical plotting, but musically engaging and breathing like an entity throughout. At least that's in my opinion. Um, while I have no idea the definition of Nagalite, I have the feeling in the power of the voice and the breathing entity within the record that it's forced into some sort of change, struggling against it, attempting to maintain some semblance of self or prior form. Now, all that's almost like like the holding of knowledge that might be stripped down, stripped from someone, stripped from themselves by either age or a metaphysical change. Now, Naga is Sanskrit for serpent. All right, so there you have it, right? You're a Garden of Eden, maybe? Okay, go there if you want. The final track, which is that pulsating amidst the powerful vocal and trembling electric guitar, is Lithos, and that's coming from Stone. So we kind of have this immovable, impenetrable, undeniable, and it seems to solidify some sort of stop or end against a force despite the fight against it. But that's just where I stand in this Nagalite.
Mhm.
Damn.
Well, you do know what Nagalite means. You said earlier you didn't know what Nagalite means. You just told us because light is from lithos, okay? Um, and yes, snake, Naga is serpent, but it's also the snake, like in the Garden of Eden, it's supposed to be representing ancestral wisdom. So,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
And then the lithos, stone, and solid, it's also an extension of timelessness. So, ancestral wisdom is timelessness, right? I mean, you should always hearken back to those that are more wise than us. Um,
Not in
but
my family, though, right?
okay, not no, for
Oh,
no, they're not your ancestors yet.
okay, okay.
Okay, no, no, I know them. No. Um, so anyways, Lily, she actually her dad was really into he had a passion for rock. So she started with the whole Beatles, Sabbath, uh, Santana, even Pink Floyd thing, which kind of makes sense when you really dig into this and listen to this and kind of embrace what she took from her past and made into what she's doing now. She started on her first instrument was air guitar. I love that, you know.
Yeah, me
Yeah,
too.
because I'm good at
I suck at it.
it. I can't play real guitar. She doesn't believe in using computer generated anything in her music because, like you said, she can play all of these instruments. But and you also said earlier that you were led down the path to her by somebody else, and you led me down the path to her.
Hmm.
And it's not typically my cup of tea, but this was really interesting.
Hmm.
And if I can be open to it and end up appreciating it and not just appreciate it, but enjoy it,
Hmm.
I think our listeners will. As far as the songs, you mentioned a couple of them, but yeah, this in some of the reviews that I read, and it was more that this album was supposed to signify a slow, powerful metamorphosis of the self, and that's kind of how Noggle is that how you say it?
Yeah, no.
Yeah, that's kind of what it sounded like if you listen closely and you really get into the song. It starts out almost like a crawl to a stand to take
Yeah.
to flight,
It
like right a little cocoon that opens up and gives you something more as you get to the end of it. I like the opener a lot. Exuvia, it
Exuvia.
really is like it's a soundscape which you would expect from this type of artist, but it was spiritual. That kind of you could just feel like there was something ancestral going on with it. And you mentioned pulsating different tracks like that. Well, Coil was that for me. I liked it. It was powerful. But it wasn't in your face. I have to say that some of these songs, even though they were heavy, they weren't overly done. I felt that they were beautiful. I like Lily.
Yeah, there. I guess the word there is I'll do it this way. It's black atmospheric metal and her incredible vocal.
Mm,
Okay, and that seems cavernous in this recording. I don't
mm-hmm.
know how you manifest that, but she managed to do it.
Yeah.
Kind of has this mystifying combination that holds a trance in places. That's Bjorkian
Yeah.
in a way, right? So, but overall, it is the music. All right,
Yeah.
it's the progress of it, the progression of it, and to
Mhm.
have it happen immediately and be quick about it doesn't seem like it would work. And the way she's done this, I that's what I get. It's unflinching ceremonialism
Yeah.
wrapped in struggle that is life, giving back to it, and she gives back to the sound, to the instruments, and incredible piece of music in 30 minutes. By the
Yeah.
way, this is not
Sure.
incredibly long in that regard. Um, this is kind of where you appreciate. There's not a level of intensity here that's overbearing, is what you're kind of saying.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
anxiety driven,
Right. How
right?
I get when I
Yes,
listen to certain things. Correct.
which can be where people go on certain ones too, and that's
Sure.
okay. But yeah, I love the dark. The dark is good, right? And in case you were wondering, this is not Lily Refrain's first album. So
Mhm.
if you love this, you're going to go back and have an interesting listening experience from a solidified artist who knows exactly where she came from, so you can understand what brings her to this moment here on this record. All right, so we go from that to elongation as well here. This is Flea, his first solo record, Honora. Yes, the might and talented bass player, musician, and songwriter has finally slipped from the coils of his bandmates and Rick Rubin, finally to get to do what he's been wanting to do and begging for. I have been since the last two records of the Red Hot Chili Peppers, which have been astoundingly good musically. All right. I do not like the guy's vocals. Normally, I could care less. They're okay in instances and catchy, but these guys are musicians, and Flea is at the top of that pedestal. And I've been waiting for him to do a jazz record. I just felt like it was there. It sounded like it was there. So now, welcome in this record, which seems to have our musical bass hero trapped somewhere between instrument that he loves, that he's, the master of, we'll say, and his new love for horn. And he just doesn't go, hey, could you come in and play horn? He decides, I'm going to play horn. And he did a great job as far as I'm. Don't get me wrong. There's people on this record. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of great people on this record. He and his mates are incredible musicians, and they've been showcasing it for the last 4 years and the last 5 records. But Honora is an album that holds a value tight to smooth position in jazz, but is not afraid to push it a little bit beyond that, which I truly didn't appreciate at first. But let me explain. The smooth start was just exactly perfect what I wanted. It felt like it. And then that at plea, a plea is technically the first song on the record, really. There's a little intro, like a minute. It's complicated bass line, but it's smooth. It just envelops the sound and sucks you in. And the rest of the instruments start to come in. And they complement things with exuberance, with the flute from Ricky Washington. And then you get, it's like what Flea had ordered up in my mind. And I would think then, and then the trumpet comes in. Oh my gosh, this is, I'm like, yes. Then, well, he abruptly turns it on its end and goes for what the fuck are we going to do this at this moment? Which maybe I should have thought was coming considering who he is, but at first I'm thrown. I'm not really appreciative of it. I don't want it there. I think the music can say it in jazz over a spoken lyrical, disapproving stance. However, the more I listened to it, it started to fit. Considering that it's not something that goes on a lot of this album, thank God. Yeah. The placement fits. He is a rock star, okay? And I like the fact that he comes at this with not I know everything or anything, just keeping it simple and a little bit. I think the music can say it, and he does allow it to it. We have to remember that he's a rock star. Elongation of things, though, does start at the Tom York Experience, which comes next with Traffic Lights. This goes into the discussion of the above record Lily refrain of is it placed? Does it make sense for it to continue on? She has this elongation too. In jazz, it's more expected, but with Flea, you're not quite sure. And Traffic Lights has a great lyrical moment here and there with Tom York. But the blend instrument lyric with actual lyrics is what saves this entire record. The expression of the music is everything. And I didn't think that song was going to catch radio and be everything and anything. It's just not. I didn't think it was, but it's a clever track, and it's a collaborative mix that fits. The same sort of thing happens with Nick Cave, too, who comes in later as well. But for me, where this is solidified as a great record is Frailed. The epic in the middle and everything of that is just smooth, almost chill like jazz. It has an electronica feel. It's a full on instrumentals. There's no play on words. It's alluring, it's entrancing. And then the record kind of goes from there. And I'll let Deb go from anywhere. From
There's so many things I learned about Flea. Anybody that's a Red Hot Chili Pepper fan, be warned. Because at first I was angry with Flea. I think until Wednesday. Um, took
I
me a
remember
couple
the
days.
text.
Yeah. Okay. And I didn't know he was from Australia either. I didn't know that. And
Okay.
and I love the idea that he wanted to master the trumpet and it only took him 2 years to do it. Now that's a musician. That's crazy. His stepdad was a jazz musician, so it was something he obviously grew up listening to. Like your George Clinton is somebody you really like. Boots. How about Bootsy Collins?
Bootsy
Okay,
Collins, baby.
Bootsy with a name like Bootsy, you got to be good. He actually had no interest in doing rock music in his early years. This is what he thought he was going to do. So I give him that to be at his age and pursuing what he's been dreaming of doing. That's always encouraging. Um, and in my disdain, the first couple days, I would have preferred to have been watching a video of him up on stage with no clothes on but a sock. But aside from what the things you said about some of the songs already. I'm in total agreement with the ones that you threw out there for us, and especially the lyrics. That was hard for me because I prefer lyrics, and it's one of the things I don't like about jazz. But I thought just how complicated some of these songs were and how interwoven all the instruments were. You had mentioned a plea, and the flute really grabbed me on that.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times a flute in jazz is all over the place and just feels like if I could blow on a flute, I could make that happen. Not here. This was gorgeous. Um, I liked thinking about you. It was the strings were really wistful, and Flea was playing the flumpet. What on earth is that? A Dr. Seuss Whoville
Trumpet.
instrument? I
Trumpet
gotta
to Mount
learn.
Crumpet. Yeah.
I have to play on that. Wichita Lineman, that remake, I had a hard time with that at first, but it grew on me. It
Okay.
grew on me, maybe because it did have that familiar feel to it, but it's a cool album. I didn't think I would say it. Harken back to Monday, and Flea
Yeah.
could, but today he's back in my good graces. And one of my favorite songs when I was an aerobics instructor back in the 90s was Give It Away. And I would get those old ladies pumped up to Red Hot Chili Peppers. So I know they're not your favorite, but they hold a place in my heart for some banging music. So
Yeah.
it was fun.
Yeah. Um, it's kind of the deeper cuts here are the most valuable, really, in the expression of the record.
Yeah.
The one you mentioned there, that's actually a Frank Ocean cover.
Yep.
So, and I don't think people would realize it was a Frank Ocean cover. Maybe,
Nope.
no, I don't.
No.
Yeah, the example of the instrument vocality and the vocality of the record comes up in Maggot Brain when you what my thought process is. So if you check that out, that'll give you an idea. It's the Flea himself. So as to get the meaty musical perpetuity and passion that has been a bit messed with freely at the start. He's just messing with it. Honora is centered in bass expression for sure, which I was really hoping it would be.
Yeah.
And But it takes on a lot more, and that all starts with Frailed and continued wonderfully throughout, showcasing a very honest and earnest delivery of jazz that we all knew was on the surface to start, but extremely deeply devout within the musician himself. Kudos. Good record. All right. Who's to say I don't have fun? Not everything has to be deep, complex, and emotionally stirring. You know how deep and complex we get here, but you have to kind of know that we also adore a great, catchy album that lets it all hang out, in the words of John Mellencamp. This is King Tough, and this is the album simply titled Moo. Oh, we kind of revel in a fantastic sonic distorted presentation of connected nonsense or common sense. And we don't care which comes first, after, or in the middle of it all. It's just about the commitment to hitting it, nailing it down, and having a sound that just catches us. Well, enter King Tough. Who? I don't know who the hell he is. I didn't have a clue. I just knew that he was in Ty Siegel's band, the Muggers. And
Oh,
I wouldn't, when you listen to a Ty Siegel record, you kind of don't go backwards and go, geez, I wonder who's playing with Ty. It's so messed with and contorted and distorted and jangled and fizzled and fazzled that you don't even care. You don't. It's not a record that you go, well, I wonder who's on with Ty. But what you should be known is that he's on Sub Pop Records, okay? And if you're on Sub Pop Records, they have I don't know, a responsibility and a reputation that kind of um, is nearly as reliable as Josh Allen of the Buffalo Bills. There you go. That's a high recommendation.
oh,
Okay.
okay.
So this neo garage psychedelic sonic pop rocker is a multi instrumentalist himself as well. He played everything on the record, but he said, "Hey, Ty plays drums, so come on over. A couple other people, bassist too. So if I just love the style, the vocal delivery that reminds you that quick wit, lyrical drop hit and flip it and dip it and strip it, whatever the hell your musical soul says to do. Move over, Sloan, move over. 5440 and Ty Siegel maybe might want to go, hey, maybe I shouldn't have made this guy into a beast. This is where you're going to get ready to go. This soloist is not afraid to get into the rock fray or fickle words and fine fuzz. Fuck. Damn.
Yeah, I couldn't find out much about the king here. Moo was he I think he's from Vermont, so Moo
Yes,
just
that is correct.
reminded him of Vermont's rural landscape, I guess.
Just a
Um,
simple word,
yeah,
right?
I
Hmm.
don't, I don't know. And this album, you wouldn't be, after you listen to it, you wouldn't be surprised to know that his influences are like the Traveling Wilburys. Okay, you got that right. And
Oh yeah.
he's a big fan of bands that use the 12-string guitar. His favorite Zepp song is Tangerine. He loves Tom Petty, who's in the Traveling.
Yeah.
Well, but you're going to hear, I feel, in my perspective, a lot of Tom Petty influence on this album. I think that his vocals are, if you weren't a connoisseur of Petty's catalog, you might even think that that is Tom Petty in places. If it was an old recording, because you can't do that anymore. But I mean, he even cites the one song "Unglued" was totally inspired
Hmm.
by Petty. I found that this was clever in some of the lyrical formats that he had, and I loved "Twisted on a Train." It was a an experience of him eating a gummy and being on a train. Okay, well, that's a rock and roll guy for you. What could go wrong? You could throw a stranger from a train, maybe, but
Yeah, or mama.
or mama. So I liked Stairway to Nowhere. That kind of had a Cheap Trick feel to me, and
Ah, that was the band I couldn't put my finger on.
yeah,
Yes,
that's
yes.
what I got from it, anyways. There's Americana throughout this album. The one that I felt was most like that was Invisible Ink. That was a really good one. Uh, and East of Ordinary, it was a strong song, but it was dreamy at the same time. And dreamy and strong just don't usually go together, but I felt it was, I felt it kind of inspired you to want to be in that dream with him. So I have on my notes, loved this album, loved it, fun, right up my alley. It was a good thing to put in there along with Flea and Lily. To
Yes.
you know, definitely a good choice.
Yeah. Cross-eyed critters and me don't mix. I think they probably do, but when this one hits your ears, you're going to realize just how much fun this Vermont multi-instrumentalist is
Mm-hmm.
having. Sure, he can sling the guitar where it's required, but he's got a knack for the timing, making a hackery of a traditional rock blending, which is something that Petty was good at. And it happens right after that song, blending magically into Oil Change, which is not anywhere near the same type of song, but it blends wonderfully. Just pay attention. It's just the expectation of what is going to happen is going to have you like, oh, what's going to come next, kind of thing. And I love that about this record. The songs are way east of ordinary and follow a stairway to nowhere, featuring all kinds of confident, catchy frivolity that is welcomed. It's a welcome breath of fresh air in the bullshit we hear from time to time. The exhausting, over artistically presented material that dominates the critical listings and darlings of shit. I love a great romp and roll on all fronts, and Moo represents this fantastically. Moo is bathed in a familiar chord structure. Yes, King Tough, Petty, but you've got Elvis Costello, you got George Harrison of the '80s solo records. There's so much on this. Buzzcocks meets Matt Mays, and you're going to hear a little bit of maybe the Beatles slapped around by Ty Segall too. There's an influence because he was in that band, so it just all makes sense. So I'll stop talking and I stopped writing because I appreciate imperfection because maybe this is all in invisible ink, but I don't think so. The extras, only two, because of Zhu. You know who you are. That worked out. All right. Charlie Puth. Changes. Is that the name of the record?
No,
No.
whatever's clever.
Whatever's clever.
Changes
That's
a
right. The first
song.
song is
Or
Changes, right?
changes is a song.
All right. It's the only song I liked. I don't understand. Is it me? I feel like the perfect pitch is boring. I feel like the emotion of things between songs is absolutely and utterly identical, robotical even. I feel like the studio has its way, and I'm wondering how this becomes something in a live show. It's almost like they have to downgrade it, I feel like the vocal is played with over immensity when it shouldn't be. I will
Uh,
say I hear the influences in the first song. I hear Bruce Hornsby, the
mhm.
piano tickling. Well, it actually turns out he invited Bruce Hornsby to play, and Bruce said, "No, you're already done. I don't need to be on this. This is already where it's at." So I was fortunate. I did listen to the podcast or watch the podcast of his appearance on Rick Beato, which was
Mm.
just very recently. It was a good interview. He's a talented individual. He's understands music, and the two of them fed off each other, and it was a fun. But this album sucks, and I don't give a shit. I don't understand why this guy is where he is. I believe Puth might be best stuffed in the piano. That's where it is. I maybe this environment of pop and this groove that no one gives a shit about. I've heard this all before.
I
Hell, there was a
know.
moment there of Phil Collins in it. And if you're all not getting him in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and all this shit, and then you're exalting this kid, I don't get it. I just don't get it. Obviously, he's not going to be on my program. I can't stand it.
hey brother, you gotta make some mistakes. I'll be right behind you every step of the way. Hey brother, hey brother. Never thought the days would turn into months. We started arguments that always ended with a sucker punch. And I know you'll be okay, you're better every day. Ooh, and if you feel behind, remember this much.
Damn.
Okay. Well, let's talk about
I wasted
Hamlet.
3 listens. That's what ticks me off, I guess.
Okay, well, maybe next time your intuition should stop you at 2. I don't know what to tell you. You got to learn from your mistakes. I don't
I pulled a Jethro Tull.
know. So let's talk about Charlie as a person. All right. He's got a couple interesting facts here. Um, at the age of 2, he survived a near fatal dog bite. That's
Wow.
something. Uh, at the age of 10, he started studying jazz. And I have a side note that perhaps that was a punishment in my book. That would have been. He was in trouble. I would have said, I'd rather go to timeout. Uh, in 6th grade, he recorded a self produced album called Have a Very Charlie Christmas and sold it door to door and made $600 in profit. Now,
Nice.
that's something to say to a 12-year-old, 11,
Mhm.
12-year-old. I love that about you, Charlie. Now, maybe as far as what you're saying in regards to this album and how it left it flat for you, he said um, he wrote this music and then the lyrics, but he wrote the music for somebody that would listen to it as a dad because his wife is pregnant. So maybe he's getting boring because he's a dad now, and welcome to our world. There's nothing exciting
Hmm.
left for you. I don't know.
I'm
Um,
a terrible dad. But that's already something we already
that's the
knew.
new album name. That's whatever's clever.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I think that this album itself, though, aside from Charlie's interesting fun facts, it was it was so poppy, it was so mainstream that there was just no signature to it. That
That's it. The signature. There's nothing.
there's a
Yeah.
like
I don't
because
even know. Does he have a signature?
I don't know because he invites people like Michael McDonald and Kenny Loggins and Kenny G and all the Kennys on his album. Kenny from
Kenny. Kenny, get my album. Kenny.
that would make it interesting. We could add that vocal. Yeah, I mean, I said the same changes. I was hoping that that would set the tone for what's to be expected. And I think it just produced a big letdown for me. Um, I was never a big Kenny G fan, but I had to respect there was a good sax in the song Cry.
Yeah.
But there really wasn't anything else that stood out for me. And so that's why I went back and looked up more cool stuff about him so I'd have something to say instead of just being mean.
I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just trying to say
Yeah,
it astounds me sometimes
yeah,
with musical talent and stuff that sometimes people are not meant to be the star. They're not meant to be, they don't have a signature. They've just got a
yeah.
knack. And a
Be a
knack is
sessions,
not
be a
enough, I don't,
sessions
for me. Yeah.
musician. Go in and help people where they need it.
Yeah. Yeah. Be a Manokachi. Um, the band of heathens, countryside, sides, plural. Because
Hmm.
countryside means something different.
Yeah,
And the album cover tells you countrysides. So get your TV dinner ready.
yeah,
Okay, so I didn't have any inclination as to what this band would be like.
really.
Nope, none at all. I utilize it because again, Twitter or X. One of the guys I follow and have a lot of fun with is the Heathen, and I said, "Hey, friends of yours?" and he does like some dark country, but he didn't really respond in that regard. But so they've got a Western style traditional country that's paced kind of truthful. It's but it reaches a little bit to rock and alt country and some southern rockish kind of thing, and that starts with "She's the Night." which reaches for a different giddy up and a gallop that I was starting to get. Well, hey, I like this. I didn't. It's not that I didn't mind the first part, but the tune and the musicianship is within the scope. But it tries to go a little bit all country, rock it up a little bit, but it stays in the line with the vocal delivery. It's nice. There's two guys singing. I'm pretty sure. And back and forth. They're trading this off, kind of like a blue rodeo kind of thing. They even have this twang and steel that works, and we even get a little gospely blues with lead don't follow. So I'm liking that country twinge in it. I like it because it has soul.
Yeah.
And country gets its soul sucked out of it, sort of like an album from Puth. And this did not. So damn.
Well, they actually were three solo songwriters for years, and they sang on each other's set, and they are a band by accident. They
Band
figured
by
we're
accident.
we're always visiting your band and my band, and why don't we just be a band? So
It's like having three apartments when you can have one, right? Yeah, okay.
take some time and money and headache. So, um, you know, their main influences are all musicians that maybe I don't love, but I've grown to respect, like a Willie Nelson. But there's Stevie Ray. I mean, who can't love Stevie Ray? Jackson Brown. You know, when Jackson Brown first came out, I wasn't a big fan for maybe the timing of when he came out. But as I go back and I listen to new music now and compare it to his, there's a definitely a, a nice, homey, calm place in my psyche for Jackson Brown now. And Linda Ronstadt, who can't love her? So they all come by this countryside, honestly, but there's different sides that come together that makes this so fun, right?
You only come around here when you need a shoulder to cry on. You lost another lover, and I'm the only one you rely on. I'll be your friend when your heart is battered and reeling. You got to understand that love is more than a feeling. So honey, take a break. You can't take anymore. You can take the cake, but who's a keeping score?
You said lead don't follow. That to me had a Van Morrison feel. That was a little bit, catchy sing along. High on our own supply. That was fun. Honky tonk. There's honky tonk in this. What's the song? Take the cake.
Take the cake, right?
Yeah. I'd like to go dance to that. Good as I can be. There's your hymnal gospel quality there. I felt the church thing there, but the lyrics are really good too, because that song is about everybody can have good qualities, but also coexist with personal flaws. And we get so caught up with what our personal flaws are, we think that we're a bad person. No, it's called being human. So there's that little gospel preachy thing, but it delivered well. I like this album. This was good. And I never heard of this band either. But anybody that's a heathen, come to my house for a party.
Yeah. I'm a born again heathen.
And again and again and again.
Yeah, again. All right. So what did you think of these 6 records? Join us next week as we'll actually hear from Bruce Hornsby, a completely spotted duo, and we take a telegraph while we're at it. We're on the web at beyondyourradio.com, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and of course, YouTube. Articles, videos, and a podcast coming soon, all about music, albums, bands, artists, anything we can get our hands on. So go Beyond Your Radio with us, a real music appreciation channel. Happy Easter weekend to all, and thanks for watching, and happy listening.
See you.